beating the ego. And I'll tell you now about a magic way to beat your ego. There are two ways you can ultimately beat your ego. The first way is being able to slow down your brain waves way beyond, like where we're at right now is a very aggressive beta stage. So this is the stage I said is very reactionary. It's not very absorptive. So you want to slow down your brain waves to a point where your ego, basically think about it as like the giant guarding like a whole, think about it like the three-headed dog or dragon in Harry Potter. I can't remember which was a dog or a dragon, but the three-headed thing that was guarding the chessboard that he ultimately went to. Think about it as that. Think about it as like the guardian of the lair. Slowing down your brain waves allows your ego to fall asleep, which then allows you to slip into your subconscious. So for those of you who love neuroscience, when are the times that your brain waves really slow down? Think about it. I want to hear some options from you. I want to hear some ideas or thoughts from you. I saw Brenton say sleep, bingo. Give me some more when you're awake as well. Throw them in the chat. Would love to hear. Meditation. Brilliant. That's a really good one. Grounding within the body. That's another one, good one. The present moment. Getting absolutely in the present moment allows us to slow down our brainwaves drastically. There are a few of these different ones, but we're going to focus on two. Okay. And the number one thing that's actually this is actually how the body normally does it, is sleep. So before you go to sleep and when you first wake up in the morning is when your subconscious is the most active in your adult life, because it's priming all the information you've got from the day. It's trying to work with it, and it needs to use it when you sleep in your dreams. In fact, when you're dreaming and you get into subconscious sleep, even your body heals the most. So if you don't get, you have different sleep cycles of what you get into. The rapid eye movement is when your subconscious mind is healing. It's like your mind taking all of the fear and the bullshit that you've worked through throughout the day, and it's trying to like get rid of it. So rapid eye movement, which is deep, deep sleep, is so important for yourself. And if you don't get into rapid eye movement sleep enough, well, because you're either stressed or you're anxious, remember I said when you're stressed and anxious, you're caffeinated, your brain waves are so high, you're not giving yourself permission to sleep. So you're not giving yourself permission for your mind or your body to heal. So separately, first, without habit formation, just to tell you the science behind it, those 2 times before you go to bed, say around 30 minutes before you go to bed, 30 minutes when you wake up in the morning, your subconscious is very active. This is a time you can fucking use. For those people who've been on the gauntlet before, I've literally said to them, you are going to be on a no phone usage 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after. I see some smiling faces on here, people who already know about that. But it's because your subconscious mind doesn't want your cell phone when you're going to sleep and when you're waking up, because you're priming your mind with all the shit that's coming from your cell phone. Now, what comes from your cell phone? The false sense of validation, the bullshit fake dopamine that you're getting temporarily because someone liked your posts, any of that stuff that you get, or a sense of getting alert way too fast. Like when you open your phone, when you wake up first thing in the morning, you're trying to jump out of the subconscious slow brainwave states, and you're jumping into a fast brainwave state. This fucks with your mind. It's what also creates anxiety. So first, those 2 times in your day are super essential. Use them to do things like gratitude, to do things like appreciation of your day. Use them to, even if you want, journal and make structure or commitment for the next day of your habit. If your habit changing is around your self-belief, self-worth, which is around most of us, gratitude of the self, mirror work, sitting with yourself and just meditating, talking to yourself, any of those things at those periods of time before you go to bed, after you wake up in the morning, those are so essential for you. Okay, so that's one period of time. Now, the next thing is, this is meditating. Meditating is, soooo, mirror work is a type of inner work tool where you're basically facing yourself in the mirror, and it's almost like relational work with yourself, using the mirror as a reflection, and you gradually use things like affirmations, gratitude, etc., to create more self-appreciation, comfort, self-acceptance, and therefore more self-love. It's one of the tools that we use on the gauntlet, but it's a tool that people use in different ways. A lot of people, athletes, use it for like motivation before they get into like performance, etc. Speakers do the same. The next thing I wanted to talk about was meditation. Meditation is another way to slow down your brain waves, and this time you can do it at any point during the day. The best and the easiest ways to meditate, however, are when your brain's already just slowly getting into your day, which is why for me, my meditation practice is every single day. As soon as I wake up, I get my water, I do a little bit of my stretches to open up my body, but boom, I get into my meditation. Why? Because my brain's already kind of in the subconscious state. It's easier for me to meditate because I have a naturally very dysregulated nervous system. It's come from my trauma, it's come from like my childhood, and I know it. And so I have a lot I need to work with. Most of us who have traumatic wounds or who have like, have been through dysfunctional patterns in relationships tend to have dysregulated nervous systems. But there's nothing in society that really teaches us how to regulate those things. It's just about running it off, burning it off, like taking medication, which is one of the worst fucking things. And like I said, in the gauntlet, for example, a strong principle we abide is attempting to take people off of their anxiety and depression medication. And I would say we have almost 90 to 95% of our participants have gone off of them if they've been on them before they came in. Because it's not to say like, hey, here we're healing you. It's here to say, change your patterning, change your coping mechanisms and replace them with more healthy ones, replace them with ones that actually support you. And nervous system regulation and meditation. When you meditate, you slow down your brain waves so much that now you can do reprogramming, you can do conditioning, you can do something that we call auto-suggestion, which is basically using your movements, thoughts, words in that mind to suggest to your subconscious mind what it should start moving towards, what it should start doing and believing. But you have to do meditation that can allow you to slip into your subconscious mind, which means you need to do it either long enough, or more importantly, you need to use certain types of breath work that can push you to being able to get into that state where you can actually play with your subconscious mind. And again, that's something that I love, like neuroscience, so much. So I've spent the last 8 years of my life studying breath work that actually does it. And that's what I use and teach people, like, for example, on the Gauntlet or elsewhere, to be able to work with. Because it's so essential when you meditate, you give yourself permission to go into your subconscious mind and you can heal your wounds. You can focus on the painful points in your life that your parents couldn't show up for you, that love or your family, the world around you couldn't show up for you. And you can reparent yourself in those moments because you're in the subconscious and show up for your inner child in the way that they need it. You do that multiple times. And then that now starts to become your belief. So your belief starts to move from, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this, like, I've been trying for love and I don't know if I can get it. Your belief starts to move to, I am fucking worthy. I'm powerful. I'm so beautiful that I don't deserve to be in those dysfunctional situations anymore. In fact, I'm going to reject any of them when they come up and say, thank you, no, thank you. I'm choosing better for myself now. That's the power of the subconscious. I harped about this all the while. Now, the third thing I want to teach you, and this is the easiest way, I would say, to be able to beat your ego and get into your subconscious. It also ties into 1 and 2 a little bit, but it's a method for those of us who haven't experienced or gone through like deep meditations, have a hard time, whatever. This is a good way to work through it. And the third way is repetition. Believe you me, this is no joke. Repetition with discipline is one of the best ways, or one of the easiest ways, if you don't go deep in your subconscious, to be able to beat your ego and get into your subconscious mind. But there has to be a catch, right? Yeah, you're telling me I don't have to get into like the deep subconscious way and to be able to ultimately change my habit. You're telling me this version of repetition allows me to beat my ego. What's the catch? Repetition, remember what I said, the ego hates change? Repetition tends to be the easiest way the ego can break you down. For example, you want to create a new habit of waking up early. You do it one day, you feel good. You do it the second day and you're like, oh, okay, I feel good. You get to a Friday and your friends are all going out and you're like, oh man, this is so fucking tempting. Everybody's going out, like it's such a good time. Maybe I'll take a cheat day for myself, which is okay if you have discipline around it. But maybe you don't. And maybe your need for connection at that moment is bigger, or your like fear of missing out on an experience is bigger. Your ego says, go out, do it. You wake up super late. Then it's not just about waking up late. This is what conditioning is really about. Neuroscience is really about. Your ego then starts to shame you around not having done what you did. You start to feel more shitty, more dysregulated, and then you go back to maybe an even worse previous coping mechanism. How many of you have experienced that before? Right? It's the ego's way of being able to beat us up inducing shame within, so that we can go back to relying on a wounded coping mechanism we've had before and just say, fuck it, it's not going to work out for me. I'm not worthy. It's not going to happen. I don't want to do it. Which is why creating structure around repetition is so important. If you do repetition without having the discipline to actually do repetition and structure, it will not work because your ego will find a way to break it down. You're doing that in the conscious mindset. You're not doing that with the subconscious mindset. When you do it in a subconscious mindset, it's easier to change your belief because that's where it lies. But when you do it in a conscious mindset, you're in this brainwave state. So your ego is going to find it faster and faster to break it down. Any action that's followed through, if you do it enough, your mind starts to say, yeah, I am fucking capable of this, I guess. Like I'm doing it now and it's become easy. Because it becomes easy, the ego there starts to fall asleep and says, okay, they've done it enough. So I can't, I've tried resisting, I've tried pushing them, I've tried making it really hard. And if you create that structure enough so that the repetition becomes a belief, you now believe you can do the thing you've been doing multiple times. This is the principle, which I personally don't necessarily like harp on my inner work teaching, but this is the principle of like, you follow a lot of those motivation pages and like a lot of those things on Instagram were like, get off your ass, bitch. Don't be a bitch. You can do it. It just takes discipline and practice. Like, get the fuck up, motherfucker. That's the principle, which is actually workable and it creates results. It's no joke. It creates results. But remember what I said. That method, if you slip up, can induce shame very easily. Take whatever it is. Take a partner. Take a procrastination thing. Take any habit. When you try to do it and you don't get it done because somewhere along the line you break up that repetition, then your ego will come back at you and say like, fuck this noise. Don't actually do this. So then the next thing becomes, okay, yes, how long is the repetition needed? Now, research varies on this one, but they say that it takes 21 days of doing something in the same way, by the way. So you can't just say, I'm going to wake up early and wake up at 8:30 on one day, 9 on one day, 7:30 on one day. And that can be like flexible in terms of your early. You should ideally just lock down a time and say it's going to be set 8:30, for example, all throughout the board. And even on days you don't have to wake up early, if you do it, your brain starts to now realize, even when there's no resistance, I'm still doing it. So this must be good. And if you do that multiple times, you ultimately beat your ego because your ego is like, I've tried. There's no way I can like ultimately like push this person or resist. And that's how you can create a new habit and a change.
Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.